guys, Timmy Ray Tactical here. I wanted to do a video on more the safety of firearms and more towards the novice shooter. So if you guys are used to this, go ahead and scroll on past it. Though I do recommend kind of watching it just to polish up on your safety a bit. Again, if you're used to this and you're fine, you're an instructor, yada yada yada, just go ahead and go past it. If I forget anything, please let me know. So first things first, I always chamber check all my firearms. Nothing's in the chamber. So as you guys know, this is the M&P Shield. Now for the purpose of the demonstration, I will be having a very high-tech snap cap. This is extremely high-tech stuff, guys. It's look at that. It's high-tech sticky paper in there, sticky note. Anyway, guys, this is just spent brass. It's been polished and made sure there's no leftover powder or carbon or anything of that nature. And there's just a sticky note there just for demonstration purposes. So one thing, one of the safety features or safety things I recommend in a firearm is you want to make sure it's unloaded. I don't care if you just set the firearm down 2 or 3 minutes ago. Always remove your magazine. Me personally, this is just an extra step. I take my 2 fingers here and I push in. That's just to make sure there's no magazine inside there. And then once I verified that, I always rack. Always rack. It's always 2 in a rack because you just never know. So once you verified it's unloaded, usually it's a good idea to lock your slide back in a sense, just so you have a bit of a clear view that it's unloaded. So obviously you guys may know that already. So if you do, cool. Now firing the firearm, once you've established obviously that you're shooting, whatever you're shooting at is in a safe area and you don't have anything in your sights that you don't want to damage, then another thing comes into play with automatics, your slide. Your slide comes back with a considerable amount of force. Now, a lot of people are used to shooting revolvers. Some of them, I won't say a lot, but a good majority are used to shooting revolvers. Some are intimidated and they think this thing is going to blow up in their hand, so they just grab onto it with dear life. And that is a terrible, terrible idea. Some of you would be like, well, no shit. Well, yeah. But for those of you that aren't, the slide here, top part, again, like I said, comes back with a considerable amount of force. So even if you were to do this, my hypothesis would be that it would just not cycle properly. I don't think that, but don't take my word for that. But, if let's say it's partially down here, where you're between your thumb and your index finger, your swell is down there, the slide will still come back because it's not completely covered, and it'll cut your hand right open. So I've seen that before. Also, some firearms you need to check if your firearm will fire out of battery. Mine specifically won't, which is another video I wanted to get into later about the Shield. People said this fires out of battery. Not necessarily true. So anyway, if you're firing, the way you can check it is, again, make sure it's unloaded. And if it fires out of battery, that'd be like this. So the chamber's not completely locked up. Personally, I could pull the trigger and it won't do anything. See? It's still charged. It didn't fire. It's even if it's pushed slightly, it won't fire. So that's something to look out for, because if this puppy fires and it's out of battery, it's gonna blow up because the chamber is not fully supported. So those gases got to go somewhere, and they take the least passive resistance, which you see a little separation there between the slide and the frame. Well, gases come out of there, gases come out of here, gases come out of there, and it blows up just like a firecracker. So you got to be aware of that. And another one I bet a lot of you are not aware of, because I wasn't aware of this myself. A couple of my other shooting buddies weren't either. So this one we're going to use that high-tech safety snap cap. Anyway, you can load it in the magazine. Okay. And let's say you have a round racked in the chamber. Okay. So you can see brass in there. That's the safety cap. So when you go to clear it, some people, and this is just a bad thing to do, some people take their entire hand here, they cover the ejection port. I'll tell you why that's a bad idea. So when we go, I'm trying to do it slow. I don't know if the extractor will throw it, but yeah, it might throw it. Anyway, let me lock my slide to demonstrate. What ends up happening sometimes is your thumb is your fingers are keeping the round in, and right there, right here, is your ejector. Now, what happens is, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to bend my ejector, but what happens is the round is kept in there by your finger right on the ejector, and as soon as you let the slide fling forward, it pins it right on the primer. It pins it right against the chamber wall and the primer, and it blows the gun up. That's a kaboom. A lot of people don't know that. So that's why when you rack your slide, it's a good idea to sling the slingshot method, because you blow your gun up that way. Again, I did not know that, I admit it. Glad that I did see the video on it, because I used to do that. So just remember, when you're clearing your weapon, don't do any cool cowboy bullshit. Just fling it forward, let the round go where it's going to go. 9 times out of 10, if it hits the ground, it's not going to go off because it's not a rimmed cartridge. So you have to get basically an even amount of force in that primer for it to go off. So that in itself is fine. See other things, holsters as well. Other safety feature: make sure they fit the firearm. Kydex holsters, leather holsters are pretty good when they're broken into, but make sure they fit the firearm because they have some of them have a tendency to get caught in the trigger and it can go off depending on the firearm. Luckily, there's some pistols that have a safe action trigger where it's not quite possible, but you never know. I mean, physics can be surprising. So we went over that. Also, kind of just be aware of your grip too, as I've pretty much said with automatics. I mean, this shouldn't be too much of an issue, but make sure you're gripped properly, like we went over. Make sure you manage your recoil. If you're training someone to shoot, give them something smaller. Don't give them something like a 50 cal again. Desert Eagle or a 500 Magnum, just, beginner stuff. Part of the reason is because, again, it's automatic, so if the recoil comes back and I'm not gripped properly, it can come, especially with 40, because 40s are more snappy, it can come back. So you can do what's called like a dual fire. If you look on YouTube, there's a perfect video of it, of a man who let I want to say his daughter use his 500 Magnum, and she actually double fired it because she couldn't handle the recoil. So you get basically your finger caught in the trigger and it goes, boom, boom, and then it can come back and get you. So that's just something to be aware of as well. Yeah, that's pretty much the only safety features or safety things that I would go over. The rest is pretty much common sense. Again, whenever you pick up a firearm, just rack it. That's just the way it is. It's Murphy's Law, because us as humans, we are used to muscle memory. We breathe based off of muscle memory. We don't have to remember to breathe. We've done it since our birth, and so we continue to breathe. You wouldn't even think that, but that takes impulse. Same with blinking. So the same way that can happen with the firearm. You pick it up, just be used to pulling the trigger instead of racking the slide, and then there just happens to be a round in there, and boom, that's a negligent discharge. So get yourself used to racking your slide. That's common knowledge. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your subscriptions, and I enjoy your, the audience. You guys are awesome people. When you have any new videos or anything, let me know, because I love watching new gun videos and stuff. So yeah, you guys have a good day. Bye.